Hi, I'm Chris Sheridan, Business Development Lead for Square, and I want to welcome everybody to our town hall today. Thank you very much for joining us. As you can imagine, businesses today are going through an unprecedented change with lack of customers and having to come up with creative ways to manage through this situation. So we've assembled a really great panel today to kind of walk through the tactical ideas that sellers are using right now to keep their businesses up and running. Now, before we get started, I wanted to remind everybody that Square has a resource hub with tips and guidance for all sellers. And at the end of this presentation, at the end of this town hall, we will be posting a link so that you can access that information. So with that being said, let me begin by introducing our panel. Today, we have Evan Lenore, VP of Operations and Finance at Laine. We also have Phoebe Sherman, owner of Girl Gang Craft, and Taylor J, owner of the Taylor J Collection. And finally, Andrew Freeman, founder, CEO, af&co, and co-founder, Carbonate. Thank you again, panel, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. So I wanted to kick it off with Evan. Evan, could you begin by describing your business and just giving a little bit of background for everybody in the town hall today about what Laine does?
Yeah, thanks. We are a retailer in the natural beauty and wellness space. We have two shops. One is in Nashville, Tennessee, and another one is in Houston, Texas. We have about 10 to 15 employees. My wife and I run the company. Sadly, she's unable to make it. She had pink eye, but yeah, we just sell. We're sort of a standard play retailer that has two shops.
Great. Thank you for that. And in Nashville, obviously, you've had some experience with tornadoes and sort of had a dry rehearsal, if you will, with managing through these crises. And I thought maybe if you could touch on that and maybe segue into how that's helping you and maybe how you've learned from that experience to prepare for the COVID-19 experience we're all going through right now.
Yeah, it's been quite the month. We were on vacation for a couple weeks in California, and we just visiting friends. And the day we came back, there was a tornado that kind of ripped. It's 3 blocks from our house. We live about a mile from our shop here in Nashville, and needless to say, it's been kind of just a whirlwind of, oh my gosh, like what do we do? And I think in these sort of tragic moments, or moments of even with the COVID-19, people really kind of find a way to come together. I mean, even this sort of this call is a demonstration of that too. We maybe had a sort of a week and a half jump on the community coming together. It's still, there's a lot of rebuilding that's happening in the neighborhood. And I think in these moments too, you know, a tornado is a little bit different than the sort of the coronavirus. We at Laine weren't harmed by the tornado, no damage on our front, but a lot of our community was. So, you know, we immediately were thinking about, oh my gosh, are they going to actually come in and buy shampoo if they can, you know, they don't even have a house. And so I think that you in those moments of, we had a little bit of, like survival's guilt, like that we weren't really harmed. Our house wasn't harmed, but we wanted to do something. And I think in those moments you have to sort of do things that you know you're good at. And we kind of host events every 2 weeks at our shops. And so we had built this really great network of mental health professionals that come and speak in our shops to our customers. And so we kind of started this we called it Safe Space Monday, just because we felt like we could connect the dots between our customers and people that were really trying to help them kind of through this time. So they could kind of come in and speak with mental health professionals for free, either in a group or individually. Sadly, obviously, the COVID stuff happened, and we've been ordered by the city of Nashville and social distancing to sort of not have any events. So we've kind of pivoted, and we're doing them via like Zoom meetings. So so it's been a weird time, and I think that just in these moments, as everybody is sort of attests to, we're just trying to help other people and make sure that we're buying gift cards at restaurants in the neighborhood and and we're seeing other people do the same to us. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think we certainly have heard a lot about the gift cards. I think the Zoom idea in place of the events is really interesting. And the Safe Space Mondays was really interesting too. Um, when you look at today and kind of like the recent kind of challenges for businesses right now, is there anything in the same vein, like the Safe Space Mondays and switching to Zoom for the events? Is there any other things you're doing right now to kind of keep orders flowing? Any other kind of ideas you've come up with to manage that?
yeah, we didn't have a retail store online before. It was pretty intentional. My wife and I have a background in physical retail, and we started the shop in Nashville. It was going really well, and we didn't feel like we were going to be competitive with Amazon and do 2 days free shipping. Like we have dreams of doing an online store, but we weren't down that path yet. And so when the orders stopped and we have to close our doors, it was like, well, we don't have any sales, and immediately we go to, oh, well, how are we going to keep our people? We sell over 120 different brands. And probably have 400 SKUs. So our people, the training regimen that we put our people through is pretty difficult. And if we lose one, we have to retrain them all. So the setbacks were staring us in the face. And so we had heard about, I think it's a company called Dirty Lemon, and they're like a juice company, and they do just texting to buy, and you join, and they save your card information on file, and you text one thing and then they're shipping to you. That sort of sparked an interest in ours of like, well, I guess we could just do a text to buy situation. So we essentially, like I had heard about Front. So sort of tactically, we kind of we started this, it's called Front app. You could look it up, and we bought us a number on Twilio and integrated Front with them. So immediately we were able to pivot and put out on Instagram and market to our mailing list and et cetera, to try to just get people to know that, hey, we're still open. You can text with us anytime. And so once we were sort of talking to our customers and they're ready to buy something, we use Square's invoicing feature to be able to just invoice them and send them a link, and they buy, and right there. So everybody has felt really like it was really convenient and super simple, young and old, tech savvy, not tech savvy. So it's definitely, like, honestly saved us from thinking about, having to let go people, or, and I think some of that is just we were kind of lucky that we didn't have an online store before. So we kind of had some pent up demand. We feel like, people couldn't buy from us unless they lived in our neighborhood, kind of thing. So I think that's helped, a little bit, but the text to buy has definitely helped us, and people seem to be just all for it. Some people don't like texting, but if you do, it's been a resounding success so far.
Yeah, really fascinating. Thank you for outlining that. I think it's super creative, and it's on everybody's phone, so it's super convenient too. Well, that's fantastic. I'm going to move now to Taylor. Taylor, you're based in Oakland. Can you share a little bit about your business and give our audience some more details on your business?
Sure, yes. Hi, my name is Taylor J. I have a women's clothing brand. It's Taylor J Collection. It's actually ran by my daughter and I, my 26-year-old daughter. We design and make everything in Oakland, so we're very local, but all about the community. We have a brick and mortar, which was a pop-up that turned into a brick and mortar space literally just recently. So this is, of course, crazy time for us. So we just had made the decision to stay permanently and locked in a lease at the space. So for us personally, my daughter, she runs the shop. So we decided to close around the 12th of March. So just because that's my daughter, she's in the space, and just for the safety of staff and customers coming in, I thought that was a wise decision because we didn't really know what was happening. And so immediately I just started to reach out to our customers. We have a really strong community of supporters that wear the brand. They are returning customers. So it was of course, we didn't know what was going on, but we still were like, hey, we're still here, shop with us online. And then as soon as things were kind of shifted really quickly to where everyone was forced to close, that's when we had to say, okay, you know what, we can only do so much. Like, we have this inventory that we're going to continue to sell and push. But once that's complete, our supply chain, they're closed too. And so it kind of like was a domino effect. So now we're encouraging people to still make purchases, and we've been communicating with them, like, some items will be delayed. We're shipping what we do have in stock, but just know that as soon as things are back to normal, your items will be on their way. And everyone's been very supportive, and we're still pushing that, as well as discounts, and asking them to purchase gift cards if there's something that, you know, they don't see anything they want necessarily on our website, or they already have, they can purchase a gift card to support us. And we also, much like Evan, you know, I had a whole 6-month plan of events in the space. The whole purpose of the space was to create an environment for other brands and other makers in our community to have a space where they can come and, you know, show their supporters or highlight their items. And so I don't want to steer away from that. Like, I'm still going to be doing some events. Zoom is a new friend of mine, I guess. This is a new world for me. But, you know, we have some events lined up. And so our customers seem to be pretty excited about still being able to be engaged with us. And for me, my angle is to really focus on the people. I'm very much a brand that supports women and their journey in life. And so I'm very sensitive to people and what they're experiencing. Yes, I'm a business owner. Yes, of course, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? But I have a lot of empathy for human beings. And so the first week, my first thought process was, oh my gosh, what about my customers? How are they feeling? How are they holding up? Did they lose their jobs? Are their children, you know, at home now, and they don't really know how to handle that? You know, so my angle is to be very sensitive to the human race. And so with that, I think that will connect my customer base and I a lot more, and hopefully it will open doors for other customers. And I'm also engaging with other business owners and trying to create a collective of owners, or where we're working together. So for instance, you know, Girl Gang, your business is my business. Our business, you know, these are our businesses. Like, how do we learn to put away the selfishness and we'll say, you know what, let's share all of our customers. If our customers see that we are all in this together and we all want to see each other thrive, it's less competitive, but more of a, you know, collective, then I think that will inspire the world just really build up small businesses. And that's my angle where I'm going. And it's something I've already pretty much been true to. So that's just what I'm pretty much focusing on, you know, moving forward. Last week, it was just, let me just wrap this around my brain, figure out the fact that, hey, we don't know what's happening. We don't know how long this will be. But how could I stay positive and use my platform and my voice to give people hope? And the same message I have within my brick and mortar, I need to still keep that online in people's faces. Like, hey, don't get depressed. Don't have anxiety. Don't be afraid. You know, still be in love with things you're in love with and discover new things. And so I think that is what's most important, because at the end of the day, we are all in this together, and we can all find something much more greater at the end of this if we all, you know, act in a way of love and be hopeful. So that's my strategy. And you know, I'm still planning things. I'm not stopping with my strategy, and my planning is just, the dates will just be, we're just gonna play around with dates. So the planning doesn't stop. It's just the dates that, you know, kind of on hold. So yeah, that's my plan.
Well, there's that is such great feedback, and I think your kind of overarching message about being positive and just being empathetic to your customers, that's a very powerful message, and I think that really resonates with people, you know, just in general. And so it's really great to hear you speak of that. The one other question I wanted to ask is, you were talking about being a pop-up, and then you doubled down on a physical location, and then you since closed that location, and then you were talking about inventory, and that you have some inventory that you can sell, but there's obviously disruptions in the inventory. And then of course gift cards, and then using Zoom for the conferencing. I would love for you to say a few more words about the inventory though, because that seems to be such a recurring conversation right now. Is, you know, how are you managing around that? You know, what happens if you run out of inventory? Is it just a matter of hoping those supply chains kind of get their act together? But I would love for you to comment on that, about what you're seeing so far.
Yeah, no, the inventory is a huge, that is basically what my business is about. It's inventory, and I'm not making it myself. You know, it's the factories are making it. And even for me, you know, from fabric supplies to the production of it, I'm looking into other resources. You know, I'm kind of looking into other places. Sorry, guys, my dog.
It's okay.
Just looking into other, you know, options as a backup, just in case things don't come into place as soon as possible. But for now, I have a lot of inventory, and it's all about communication. I've been really communicating with my customers a great deal. So hold on a second.
I'm just hoping my dog doesn't bark as well and just add to it. He's
Okay, sorry, you guys.
no problem. No problem.
So I've just been communicating with them. Hey, we're not ditching your order. We just don't necessarily have it right now. And also just, you know, doing research and finding other avenues. I'm very local. My factory is literally around the corner from my workspace. They're not open, and you know, of course, and I don't know how long it will be. So it's just the communicating with the customers, and I think having a committed customer base, you know, helps, of course. And so they already know your brand, they're familiar with your brand, so I think they're supportive to that. But I don't know. None of us know the answer to
right. Well, no. I definitely appreciate, you know, you sharing, you know, how you're managing that right now. It's very educational. It's very helpful. Thank you again. And I'm going to turn it now to Phoebe of Girl Gang Craft. Welcome. And Phoebe, do you want to kick it off by just giving us a little background on Girl Gang Craft? Pardon me.
Hi, I'm Phoebe. I'm the founder of Girl Gang Craft. We are a female-forward community for creatives and entrepreneurs. And we do a multitude of things. We throw craft fairs. We help businesses elevate their brand. And we have our own feminist clothing line. And so obviously, not only are we personally affected with, you know, our product line with participating in other people's events, we, of course, throw our own events that had to be rescheduled. So we rescheduled our events and, you know, hoping that we're back up and running by June with our in-person events.
Great. No, thank you for that background and the kind of insight on the event. So let's talk about creativity. What are some of the things that you're doing differently right now, you know, during this COVID crisis, and, you know, what any tactical things you may want to share with the audience today?
Yeah, well, when this first started, you know, it was really hard to see our community being in such fear. Because not only were our craft fairs pushed back, but all of the other events that these product-based businesses and makers rely on were also canceled. And that's a big way that people are making money right now. So, you know, I think I've seen a lot of responses to this as well. There's sort of been this hustle response, and there's also been sort of this take space response. And I've been thinking about both, and both of my responses have varied on the day. So as, you know, a member of the community and the maker community, really trying to offer that both of these responses are okay. And if you are able to pause, that's beautiful. And if you have to figure out how to make money right now, that's also something that, you know, we have to do. So we're trying to figure out a way to help our community in this time. And that's something we're always doing. But specifically, this time is hard for entrepreneurs and small businesses. So we've pivoted in a couple of ways. We immediately sort of had this we had this downloadable free guide called the Girl Gang Craft Guide to Pivoting. So there's, it's just a free download on our site. And it has some tangible steps to A, clean up your online content now, and B, figure out ways how to elevate your online content, and C, figuring out ways to maybe diversify your revenue stream a little bit. So that's something that we launched pretty much immediately after all of this was happening. We also had plans to do a podcast anyways, and that's sort of fast forwarding. So that will be out hopefully the week of April 6th. And it will be a podcast, a mix of lessons from us, things about anything from social media strategy to, e-commerce to in-person marketing. And also we'll be interviewing people from our immediate Oakland community and, globally as well. So we're really excited about that. Hoping to get our community voices into everyone's ears as a way to help them elevate their business. And also just highlighting the community as well. So we've had our first week of Instagram story takeovers. On Monday, we had a midday Monday meditation with our friend Shirley. It was beautiful. I mean, we all need more of that. And we are highlighting different people from the community as, sort of like their behind the scenes and how they run their business and studio tours. So that's living on our Instagram highlights right now. And and then we're also doing a branding workshop next week. So I've actually been more busy than not right now. But we are offering a branding workshop next week to help us elevate our content in this crazy time. So that's available on our website if you guys are interested in joining. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's definitely a lot of things. So we talked about the guide to pivoting your business, the podcast that you're kicking off. You're doing the Instagram takeover stories, and obviously now you're doing this branding event. Maybe just one last question as well that you can comment on, because you have another unique perspective of what's happening out there. Is there like a common denominator across, whether you're talking to someone about pivoting their business, or you're talking about someone about your social media presence, or you're thinking about your podcast? Is there sort of a similar question you're hearing as you're kind of engaging in all those different areas from your customers, from the people you work with? Is there sort of one overarching concern right now, or one kind of observation you're taking away from all these different things you're doing?
Yeah, I think number one, e-commerce is hard, period. I think it takes a lot of energy and a lot of multitude ways of thinking, right? Figuring out Facebook ads, your social media, all of that stuff, driving traffic to your website is hard. And then it's particularly hard right now when people are holding on to their money tighter. So, I think there's just a lot of fear going on collectively. And as someone who helps other brands, I think what we need to do is figure out how to tap into helping overcome that fear. So, maybe you're someone who makes candles, for instance. And, on the surface, that could seem, okay, well, no one needs candles right now. But actually, everyone's at home right now. And if you tap into the making of the space of the home right now, there's your audience. So it's all about sort of rewiring how you're selling your product. And I think that's going to have the most impact now.
Yeah, that's a great example. I mean, people are really adapting and trying different things right now. And so that's a really good example. Well, I really appreciate your insight. Thank you very, very much. It was really insightful. I'm going to turn now to Andrew. Andrew, you're currently the owner of 2 companies. I thought maybe you could give some background on those 2 companies, and then we'll get started. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, everybody. By the way, Taylor, you do not look old enough to have a 26-year-old daughter. Okay, just FYI, because I want to buy whatever products you're using. Anyway, I'm Andrew Freeman. I'm based in San Francisco, California. My company af&co is 15 years old, and we are probably, where we are, one of the nation's leading, but in San Francisco, in the top 3 firms that do media relations and marketing for the hospitality and restaurant industry. So you can imagine what my life has been like for the last 3 weeks. And then Carbonate is our sister branding company that does visual identity, branding, everything related to strategy for hotels and restaurants. So that's a little bit about both companies. Unfortunately, talk about timing. I had on the Monday before this all hit, I had merged with another small Bay Area agency. We announced the news on Monday, had a party celebrating it, and now, like everybody else's businesses, we're a quarter of what we were 3 weeks ago. So unfortunately, the hospitality industry and restaurant industry has been hit crazily hard by this whole thing. So I'm really hoping that this $2 trillion relief package that's supposed to be passed tomorrow is going to help all of us, and mostly, the families of all these displaced workers.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, that is a tough business to be in right now. Obviously, nobody's traveling, to your point. What are you seeing that hotels, the travel industry is doing to kind of keep working on their branding and messaging to their customers? And are there any hotels that are even actually still open? Are you actually even seeing that right now?
Yeah, that's realistic. What we've really been. I work with the one of my clients is the Golden Gate Restaurant Association. So and then on the hotel side, there's this cost of staying open and trying to be innovative and cool. With trying to keep your brand alive via delivery and takeout. And then there's this sense of, is it better to hibernate, and just go into hibernation so that you save your cash reserves for a comeback. And that's sort of what, we've been dealing with on every level, because we still don't know the comeback date. And I think one of the learning lessons that we're all going to be faced with is when we come back, we're going to come back. It's a whole new world. Like, social distancing is going to stick, and, sense of sustainability. It's going to be a while before we ramp back up to what it was before, certainly, in our industry. So unfortunately, the majority of hotels have closed. They've decided hibernation is the better way to go. And now they're being turned into facilities to help house the homeless with the virus. And then also auxiliary hospital rooms for not for the sick, but for the medical workers that are being called in for places to stay. So we've been working with the city and the city government on that on the hotel side. The restaurant side, as you know, a little more resilient. So there's been a lot of really innovative programs, and I encourage everybody listening to eat out at your favorite restaurant virtually, order in, do takeout, do curbside pickup, and and that's been very innovative. And now, like, we're doing virtual raid the wine cellar, wine sales, and different things like that. Just because people are home, they're drinking more. It's very clear they're smoking more pot, they're drinking more, and they're doing and they're getting involved in virtual, obviously virtual reality in terms of cooking classes and things like that. So the restaurant community has, definitely embraced it. I think the fear that we all have is if this continues to go on, and we don't know when we can get back online, will that be a sustainable business model?
I think your comments about the restaurants is so interesting too, because we are seeing, to your point, they're surviving on online ordering and pickup, which is something, or with curbside pickup, I should say. You were talking about delivery, which is another big one. The gift cards has come up a couple of times. That's a way to support your local restaurant as well.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think you were saying earlier though that they're also using Zoom to do like wine tastings or events. Is that right?
Zoom is going to be the number one. If you don't have Zoom stock, buy it now, because they're going to be the number one beneficiary. Them and Amazon, and like all like the home delivery services. Like there's going to be people that are going to be saying we had the best year ever. But we're definitely using it. We're using it for what we're calling chef-in-ars. There's a company called af&co Tours that has just launched a chef-in-ar series. There's a lot of virtual cooking classes, wine tastings. There's this thing, these hangouts and these meetups where everybody can order from the same restaurant at one time, and then we can have virtual dinners together. So it's the piece that has been like, if there's any positive in all this, is this sense of community that sort of comes together in these situations where people are getting together and really figuring out how we're going to take care of each other. And it really goes down to, I think by the time, I think I just read a number that, the number of displaced hospitality employees, topped out over 100,000 this week. And this is going to be a slow return. So we have to figure out how we're going to take care of people for the longer run. I would say that for the restaurants and hotels that are hibernating, if you will, keeping your brand voice alive is really key. Going completely, dead is hard. So we've been in my little agency, which has been severely affected. We're working on skeletal team right now. What we're trying to do is just keep our clients just keeping the social presence going, touching base with their customers, just making sure that when we come back, we're like, they haven't forgotten about us.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. There's still a major reason to communicate to your customers on social media, remind them that you're here. And it's a very valid point. Well, I think that is fantastic insight on what the restaurant industry is doing. Some really creative. I mean, the virtual wine tasting. I love the let's place the order all at once and then have dinner together. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Maybe just to open it up to the group, are there any other unique things you see happening in the business community, of folks trying to get really creative and trying to, continue to manage their business during these difficult times?
I would say, this is Andrew, and then I'll turn it over. But I would say what Taylor mentioned is really about collaborations with other partners. We have one restaurant that got partnered up with a florist so that you can get fresh flowers for your house when you order a meal. And they're also doing, there's a lot of meal kits that are coming through. So we're looking at retail partners to say, can we include a candle, or can we include something that, extends, like, let's partner up here, or let's figure out, like, we've partnered with meat companies and farmers markets. And so, the positive side of this coming out of this is, like, some of these things won't go away. Like, some of our meal kit clients have done extremely well. We have a client in San Francisco named Canella that's done paella meal kits. And so I think some of that will come out, but I think the spirit of partnership would be, something that I would suggest that everybody pursue, like who could we be partnering with right now to help each other?
Fantastic. Any other comments?
Yeah, I'll say something. Oh, go ahead, Evan.
I was just going to say that I think that, these are pretty bleak times for a lot of people, our customers, our other business owners. But I think in those bleak times too, there's a hint of opportunity that can be had. So I guess actually doing a website, and I just think working the contract structures, or any way to sort of partner with those other people that are providing you services. I think people are just a lot more willing to try things they've never tried before. And I guess I would just encourage people to, whatever business agreement you're going to try to do, like, now's a good time to actually do something that you might have put off. Like, we're a physical retailer, so, like, if our store is closed, well, now is the time to, insofar as you can afford it and you feel good about your business going forward, to like redo the store a little bit, to give a little bit of an update so you don't have to close the store. So I just think that like making sure that whatever sensibility you're in your current business, it's important that right now is the kind of time to act. And everybody has a different business model and how it really works. But I do get a sense that a lot of other business owners are being super flexible right now. So I think people could push the boundaries on things that they, maybe is abnormal, in the past, but now it's like almost anything's game.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really interesting insight there. Phoebe?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I used to be a yoga teacher, so I'm very involved in the yoga community, and, all the fitness studios are closed right now. And it's been really inspiring to see all my friends hop on Zoom and just like have these classes that are, at the Zoom 100 capacity, which I think is really beautiful because, our studios can't hold 100 people. So I think that there is opportunity in this online space because it's really unlimited. And, also thinking about like back to, the designer or the craft world, a lot of our community is coming online with craft workshops. And I think that's really cool because, it may not even be the craft or the thing that you do as a seller, but it's sort of adjacent to your business. And that's a whole new revenue stream that you can tap into. So sort of thinking about like what's not necessarily your old bread and butter, but what could be something that is adjacent to your business that can serve the community, I think is really valuable.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point.
And I would just say, I would say if you haven't been kid friendly, think about that aspect too, because there's so many parents that are like, I got to do something with my kids right now. Like I've got to get them in front of something, or I got to do a cooking class with them or something. So a lot of our restaurants are not geared towards kids. And we've been like, just do something kid friendly, because that'll get people interested because they're just trying to figure out how to keep their kids, not only entertained, but educated.
Yeah. What an interesting comment. I think I know I have that issue. I have 2 kids. I gotta keep them, busy, or otherwise they'll be interrupting this town hall. Let me ask one more question because we're kind of coming towards the end, and I want to just kind of go around the group one more time before we close. And Andrew, I'm happy to start with you. But my question is this: is there an area or resource do you use to kind of as a resource to kind of get other inspiration and ideas about all what other folks are doing that you might want to share with the audience and say, you guys should check out this blog or this other resource as well?
I mean, in my world, in the hotel and restaurant world, Eater around the country is a great, if you should sign up if you're not already, because they've been great at sharing who's doing takeout delivery, who's, doing innovative things, these chef mashups, these sort of really innovative partnerships. I also think that the Golden Gate Restaurant Association or your local restaurant or hotel association is a great resource. I think because we all have a little more time to read now, there's so many really innovative ideas coming out every day that like I look to like my fellow panelists saying like I should probably do something that they're doing or sort of figure out. I think what we're calling we haven't pivoted yet, right? Because we don't know when we're going to get out, right? But when we pivot, there's going to be a lot of these new opportunities that I think are going to Evan's point. I think the way you've been doing business, now's the time to think about what your new world is going to look like, because it's not going to be the same as what it was before this all happened. So we're looking at adding takeout counters to some of our restaurants and doing all that. So building communities where we can share ideas with each other. My company, af&co, if you go to our website, we are doing a lot of online sharing in our Instagram and our Instagram feed. But we also have a newsletter that goes out once a week with just ideas, just ideas for how to get involved. So you can sign up for our newsletter. So we've tried to become that community hub for the hotel and restaurant community.
Oh, that's fantastic. Let me turn it over to Evan. Any things you can share with the group that you're checking for information, inspiration?
Yeah, I guess as a general practice, I try to, stay away from too many blogs just about business. Personally, just because we're, as business owners, that's all you think about all the time. So in my breaks, I'm trying to read fiction or something. But I guess I tend to like to kind of keep my tabs on kind of what's happening in the private equity world on new investments, and I only do that just to see where large money is being put into really cool and innovative companies, because presumably these innovative companies, if they're raising that much capital, they're thinking about things that maybe a lot of people haven't thought about yet, or filling a void that the marketplace doesn't have. I mean, honestly, that's where I found out about the Front app. They just raised a bunch of money. So I'm like a member of Crunchbase, and I get emails from them. And then another one is Fin SMEs, like it's FINSMES.com. I get an email from them once a week, and it just explains like people that have raised money and in what capacity, and they're across all different sort of industries. And I find those articles helpful and interesting to think about, like, oh, this company is doing something I never even thought that was a thing. So that's how I find out about new things kind of coming down the pipeline.
Great, thank you. And Taylor?
Okay. Yes. Yes. For me, I forgot to mention this earlier, but we actually previously have we did a crowdfund, and so we actually are going to be doing that again real soon. And also, what I've learned from this is I want to incorporate more shopping experiences for my customers. So I've seen a lot of people doing delivery boxes of delivery, things of that nature, or more so personal one-on-one styling that can be like virtual, with personal stylists, and also create an opportunity for people to have another income. So one idea that I've thought of in the past that I actually ignored was having kind of a Stella and Dot format, not format, I can't even talk, Stella and Dot type of model for my business. And so I'm rethinking that again, because a lot of people are going to be looking for other streams of income. And so that might be something that I might revisit again for the business, is allowing other people to be a little bit more than just ambassadors, but maybe even stylists for my brand.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, and Phoebe.
Sorry. I get a lot of inspiration from podcasts. I have a couple favorites. Amy Porterfield and Jenna Kutcher are really good about email marketing and building audiences and course creation and things like that. So I get a lot of great, solid ideas from them. And of course, we're hoping to be a resource for a lot of other people. So we've actually put up COVID-19 resources on our site. So that's right on girlgangcraft.com. We have things up there like artist grants, articles, guides, and also, even local jobs. So yeah, and we're hoping that our podcast can be inspiring to other people as well.
That's great. That's great. And this is perfect because we're kind of coming into the last minute of our town hall today. I want to thank everybody again for your solid advice, your inspiration, all these creative ideas you're sharing today. It's really wonderful to hear how and motivating to hear all these great ideas that you're sharing. Before we close, I would like to go around the room just one more time. Any parting words of wisdom, any parting advice for everybody just before we conclude? And I'm happy to kick it off with Taylor.
Yes, my parting words would be to stay hopeful, have faith, and stay within a positive space. Keep your mind positive, be as positive as possible, and to focus on the things that you can control, which is, just a good attitude and outlook on things. So I think that is the most important thing of all, is that we've got to stay strong and know that we are all in this together. So keep hope alive is what I would say.
Fantastic. Andrew, do you want to go next?
Well, I'm going to echo, what Taylor said. I had stay calm. There's just this overwhelming amount of information, and if your business is really suffering, you're looking for help and relief and taking care of your employees, and you can definitely get into that phase of I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. So I also think ask for help, stay calm, and then try to try to use the time to figure out what you can do that you aren't doing before this all started, and what's the other side of this look like for you. I know it's hard when you're in it to think that way, but for me, of course, being a hospitality guy in my business, I'm saying diversify so this doesn't happen to me this way again. But I would say that the most important thing is to try to stay calm, and I'm going to end it. I'm sorry, I'm running over time, but I'll say be a good neighbor. Even though you can't touch people the way you were able to, you can still reach out, and everybody is going through something right now. So just be really community oriented.
No, that's great. Love to be a good neighbor. Great advice. Evan.
Not to be a repeat, but I agree. Just kind of staying positive and calm. I think that if this has shown us anything, it's that people want to get out of their house, and we're not all wanting to buy online all the time. People want experiences. People want to get and be around other people. We're social beings. And I think that as long as we can do the best we can to make it through the next 2-3 weeks, I think that, just making it to there is what we need to be focused on. And I think that there might be just people just running around in the streets because people are like, yay, I can finally be back in society again. I think that people, my fingers are crossed that there's going to be a big wave of support and just because people frankly just want to get out of their house and they're tired of just looking at their significant other or their kids all day. So I'm hoping in that way.
That's great. And Phoebe?
Well, I believe that before you can take care of others, you have to take care of yourself. And so do whatever you can do to do that. I'm also a very big advocate of exercise. It changes your whole day. We can't maybe run out into the mountains, but you can run in place around your block, or, there's all these apps right now with exercise, right? So, finding a little quiet, take care of yourself before you can be there for other people in your community.
Well said. Well, I want to thank my panelists again. What a great town hall. What a great discussion. Very, very exciting, very motivating discussion. As a reminder for all of our audience, on squareup.com is the seller resources guide with tips and guidance for everyone. So please check that out. And I just want to thank our panel one more time. Really appreciate you making the time to talk to us today. Great experience. And I hope everybody has a great day, a great week, and stay positive. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.